Okay, I'm back from my latest trek around the globe. I haven't finished putting up pictures. I've got hundreds on hundreds of photos, and I have to pick the ones that are the best. I was trying to do it real time, and I just, internet issues. But I wanted to talk about sort of the effect that the trip had. Because, again, radically, wildly different. This is my life now compared to when I was on vacation. I went to 5 different cities on 3 different continents in 6 days. And the difference between being out in the middle of nowhere and you get this, this is just a few minutes walk from my house where I'm at right now, compared to massive gobs of people, and having to interact with them. Now, again, I've talked about avoidant personality disorder. It seems to be fairly binary in dealing with people. I haven't really met many people that are truly down the center. Most people either have to hang out with their families only, their family of origin, or a few people that they've sort of picked up as friends or whatever, and they're very comfortable with those few people, and being around strangers stresses them out massively. Or being in, family relationships and long-term relationships stresses them out, and being down around strangers is better for them. It really depends on I think, where their abuse started. If you felt comfortable and accepted with your family, and other people were the ones that were judging you, then you're the first scenario. If your family was the one that was constantly judging you and bringing up stuff from the past and reminding you, then you're more comfortable around strangers, and you can be yourself around strangers, because even if they are judging you, they're not going to throw it in your face for the next 50 years. And I am definitely one of the latter. However, I'm still introverted, and being around people is massively stressful. There's no way I could travel like that with people, like on a tour or something like that. I'm thinking of ways to sort of test that maybe for my next trip without testing it. Anyway, this trip was harsh because I did take a tour, and it did only have 3 other people and 2 tour guides. But it was pretty annoying. And thankfully, they were all totally self-absorbed and, just ignored me for the most part. But it is a hugely stressful experience to do a big trip like that. I don't want to downplay that. And yet, recharging. However, then you come back to your real life. And I did have a really unique sort of experience coming back. I got back to the United States, what time? I don't know, like 11 at night. I didn't get back to my house, a little squirrel, until about 2 in the morning yesterday. So this is, again, really fresh. My son did stay at the house. It's a garbage tip. It's going to be a while cleaning it up. He also didn't take care of the cats, which I was hoping he would do. yes, I do leave my cats in the house. I have 5 cats. They normally have 3 litter boxes, and then I actually bring in, when I'm leaving them alone, I have like massive bowls of water around, and I get those giant bags of food and splice it open and turn it into a big, huge bowl for them. And I have there are 3 litter boxes, and I have a kiddie pool that I turn into a litter box. Since my son was there, I didn't do any of that stuff. He didn't feed them, so I found their bag of food torn open, that they opened it and were feeding themselves. And also the boxes were not maintained, so they got full and they started using the floor. I'm not impressed. But he was okay. Until, because yesterday, obviously stayed overnight, and then we actually went to see my father, and he really enjoyed that, seeing his grandfather. And it wasn't until I was bringing him back into the place where he's staying, that he started to get snippy again. I don't know. But I saw for a few hours my old kid, so that was really nice. That's all that update. Now let's get to the meat of the matter. What actually happened? I appear to have had a delayed AvPD reaction, and a pretty severe one at that. It was so weird. I mean, first of all, again, I was in a lot of different places, but I woke up in my house, in my own bed, and it kind of freaked me out. I couldn't figure out where I was. And I was like, am I dreaming? Have I finished traveling? Because it was very grueling. I got picked for extra security. I got the dreaded SSSS on my boarding pass, which basically meant that they did a swab down of my entire body and all my luggage and everything inside and out. To check for bomb residue, because I was at an Arabic country and by myself, and obviously that means I'm a terrorist. So that was interesting, to say the least. But it really was quite the traveling back, and because it was over a day of travel on each end. So I woke up really disoriented, and it took me a little while to get the gist of, this is my house. It also seems really humongous now, after being in an area where price is such a priority on space, that everything now seems gigantic, that there's so much space here. Whereas it used to be normal. I mean, that's the point of traveling, is to have different life-altering experiences, right? But then I went grocery shopping, and I started to lose it. If I hadn't been paying attention, I think I would have had a full-blown hardcore panic attack. Instead, I guess I must have had a mini one. It started, but I attended to it, and so it was pretty quick and over. And the problem was, please listen to this irony. I was talking to somebody else who's like, yeah, I completely understand that, kind of. The problem was there weren't enough people in the grocery store. I'm used to, well, if you see the pictures, I mean, if you saw the video, you kind of saw a little bit of how many people there were. But those, actually, the little clip videos I took were when there was enough space to take pictures and videos, because there really weren't as many people. On average, what was in those videos, there were twice as many people easily, all the time. Super crowded all the time. And I do hide in crowds. And again, this is a radically different lifestyle. There's all these teeny tiny stores. They basically sell the same stuff, and they're fighting for tourist dollars. And so the shopkeepers are on the lookout constantly for somebody who looks like a tourist, and they start shouting out to them, and they'll follow them down, what they call a street. This would be a major thoroughfare. And in Marrakesh, most of the streets, and I mean, they're considered streets, and they would have like motorcycles going down them, and carts, and donkeys, and everything, were about 5 feet across. No joke. Everything is crowded in, but these shopkeepers would just hunt you down and yell and follow you and do everything they could. You never just go buy something, you have to do bartering. You have to interact. And actually, they said that I was as good as a Berber for my bartering, because I didn't really care. I don't really like to get souvenirs anyway. My best deal, I actually got something for my father. Their initial price was 500 of, God, I can't pronounce it, but their money system, which is about 10 to 1 of theirs to US dollar. And I spent finally 50. So 1/10 of what their initial offer was. But that's how well you can barter there. Nothing is in what the signs say. As a matter of fact, they're insulted if you just buy what their price is that they offer. I mean, this is hugely different. So I came to the United States where there's a grocery store and there's, space. And I basically had a panic attack because there weren't enough people there. Because then I really did feel like people could see what I was doing and pay attention and judge me. And it was like, oh my God. I did not expect that. That was the weirdest reaction. And 100 years I wouldn't have suspected that. I sort of prepared myself for what would happen in Morocco. I mean, yeah, they really do have cobras in the street. And they try to scare people literally into paying money so that, they don't literally come up to you with a snake, which I have a video of. And I might put on Instagram. Because it's like, holy God, you got to be kidding me. I mean, that's real. They really do that. Anyway, that's where I expected to have the panic attack. I thought that maybe on the excursion I took, which I thought was going to be like 40 people, and it turned out to be 4. I thought that would cause a panic attack. Although that was a very physical excursion. First, I went on a camel ride, and then I climbed a mountain. Not the whole way. I was on the largest, highest mountain in northern Africa, and it was a path. It was clearly a path. We were being mocked by quote-unquote taxis, which were guys with donkeys who would have given us a ride up if we paid for it. But I think that helped. That helped that I had all these other very physical things that were distracting me, and then I came back to the United States where everything is more comfortable, and in the process of being more comfortable, the avoidance sort of all caught up with me, and it was not good. So, I'm taking a walk in the snow. I have no idea if that's fine. Maybe, maybe not. There's at least one outside. Probably waiting for me down the other end saying, why aren't you waiting for me? But whatever. Yeah, so that was interesting. So, I've told people, I've talked about it before, this pendulum effect. And that's what happens, is you push yourself out of an avoidant state where you're acting like non-avoidant, but it always comes crashing back. It always does. And it was really weird, and I didn't expect it, and I really should have, but I didn't. I don't know why. I thought I got away scot-free with having this very free trip, and what happens in Morocco stays in Morocco. And, it wasn't... Okay. Yes, I was creeped out by the people that were following me. I was really creeped at the end, because that's when I finally got accosted. And I'm saying finally, but, you expect it. You expect that a woman traveling by herself is going to get somebody attempting to pick them up. I mean, this was extreme. I mean, it would have taken extreme. Who knows? Maybe I've had a whole bunch of guys trying to pick me up. This guy is following for like a mile saying, what did he say? I mean, it's going to sound offensive because, Arabic speaker. I believe what he said was, I could make you good fucks. Over and over. And trying to convince me to go with him. No way in hell. No way in hell. I don't believe anybody would really be attracted to me anyway. First of all. Second of all, I might like strangers, but that's a way to make somebody not be a stranger real fast. And also, I was assuming the entire point of it was to try to get money, because that's all they wanted ever was money, which makes sense. I mean, they need money. So that it would either be a pay for play or rob me. In any case, that spooked me real good. And that was the end of the trip. But then I had to deal with the Barcelona airport, which was horrible because I live with a kid who's autistic, and it really reminded me of that, where they knew what they were doing and they just didn't communicate anything. No signs, no people working there. They just assumed you knew where you're going, and it didn't work. And I was tired and stressed. But I did miss my flight, so that's all that matters, right? So again, the beginning, amazing. The very tail end, very, very stressful. And then I came home and had this avoidant reaction, which is really the point of me making this video, to tell you what it was like to deal with all that and then to come home. And also to let you know that even though I'm very aware of all this stuff, I was a complete idiot and totally blindsided by it. That was pretty lame. In retrospect, I should have expected something, but it really caught me by surprise. The pendulum seems to always be in effect. And again, you can, by pushing this pendulum, pushing yourself further and further, yes, you swing back, but eventually the fulcrum will nudge and you'll get closer to wherever you're going. It takes a long time. It was a lot of effort. It's very stressful and very exhausting. And you can't do it quickly. It's got to be a slow process. But the pendulum does always swing back. You don't swing out and stay there. So that's the after effect of my trip. And again, pictures are forthcoming when I get around to it. Because again, that's judging and looking at my pictures, which are, come on, it's Morocco. It's hard not to have an amazing picture, but I always aim for perfection and everything always fails. So there's that part, the self-judging part. But I'm hoping to get that updated, I hope within the next 2 days. Again, it's a lot of work, but you can always look at the pictures. And even though it's lovely out here in the snow, I think I'm going to end this now. Until next video. Bye.